couldn't believe it. It just didn't ring true to me. It felt like a dream, or... I'm sorry, Robin. I know, because I keep saying the same thing. I couldn't believe, it's still, to this day, it's still so difficult for me to believe. It's you have to accept what is, but it's hard.
There are moments in life that split time in two, before and after. For Janet Jackson, June 25th, 2009 is that line. On the other side of it is a world without her brother Michael, and for years she's carried that day mostly in silence. But in a rare, deeply personal conversation, Janet finally opened up. She talked about the phone call, the shock, the grief that never really leaves, and the family she leaned on to survive it. This is Janet Jackson, in her own words, on the day Michael died.
I was at my house in New York. Another day, another morning, and I get a call. So, your brother's been taken to the hospital. It's on CNN right now.
It started like any other day. No warning, no sign that anything was wrong. Janet has said that when the news first reached her, it didn't even feel real. Like her mind simply refused to process it. That's often how it happens with the people we love most. The moment doesn't arrive with drama. It arrives quietly, and then everything after it changes. Before she knew anything for certain, Janet did what any of us would do. She reached for family. She got on the phone with her mother and with her brothers and sisters, trying to piece together what was happening, hoping that whatever she'd heard wasn't true.
I spoke to Mother. I spoke to Tito. I spoke to my sister, Latoya. They were headed to the hospital.
And you headed to the airport?
Not at that very moment. I didn't know the severity of it. No one knew.
But the calls kept coming, and with each one, hope got a little smaller, until finally, there was no more uncertainty left to hold on to. Michael was gone.
I tried calling again, and that's how I found out that he was no longer. I don't know.
Janet has talked about Michael's memorial service in a way that might surprise people, not just as a day of mourning, but as something the family genuinely needed, a kind of closure, a chance to stand together in front of the people who loved him too, and just begin the long process of accepting that he was really gone.
What was it for you in that service that helped you, perhaps the most, in dealing with your brother's death?
There being some sort of a closure, I suppose, at that time. I haven't talked about this, Robin, with anyone. And you have to forgive me, I have this thing where I tend to smile. When things kind of get a little painful. I guess that's just my protective shield.
And in the middle of her own devastation, Janet found herself doing what she's always done for her family, holding everyone else up. She's spoken about comforting Michael's daughter, Paris, and the rest of the children during the service. Because grief doesn't wait for you to be ready. Sometimes you're breaking apart and holding someone else together in the very same breath.
You were trying your best to comfort her. You were Auntie Janet at that moment? When she turned to you, did you just want to scoop her up? Just protect her?
All of them. Not just her. Blanket, Prince, my other nieces and nephews. It's just tragic. It's hard for everybody. It's been very hard. I think we've been doing very well. I have a very strong family.
Janet and Michael's bond went back further than fame, further than the spotlight, all the way to childhood. She's described just how close they were and how his absence is something she still feels every single day. Not the version of him the world knew, but her brother.
Who were you closest to when you were growing up?
Mike. We were incredibly close.
When was the last time you had seen him?
2 days before my birthday.
And what was that like?
Fun. We had a lot of fun laughing. And he was sitting in front of me, and just cracking up, laughing at me.
What do you miss most about him?
For me, his silliness, his love, how much fun we used to have together. We would practically do everything together, from morning till night, every day.
She's also spoken about the darker chapters, including Michael's struggles with substances and how she and the family tried again and again to protect him from that path and from the people who forced him to it. It's one of the harder truths for any sibling to sit with, loving someone with everything you have and still not being able to save them from the vultures around them.
Was there a time as a family that you thought, we need to do something here? Did you do anything?
Of course. That's what you do. Those are the things that you do when you love someone. You can't just let them continue on that way. And we did a few times. We weren't very successful.
How did he react to the interventions that you all conducted?
How do I say this? Understood that it was out of love because of caring. But when it's something like that, people can tend to be in denial.
Was Michael in denial?
I wish he could answer this question for you, and not me.
Janet has also recalled the very last time she saw her brother, just 2 days before her own birthday. She told him she loved him. She didn't know it would be the final time she'd say those words to his face. And she's talked about something we all eventually learn the hard way. At some point, you have to find a way to move forward, even when part of you doesn't want to.
The last time you saw Michael was around your birthday.
2 days before my birthday.
Did you tell him you loved him?
June was the last thing we said to one another.
It was.
Yeah. He said, I love you. He said, I love you too, Dunk.
You wrote, I can't describe our pain in losing our brother, or the pain of his children in losing their father, or the pain of my parents in losing their son. I still have not seen the film This Is It. I still can't watch any of his videos, listen to his music. I'm certain that one day I'll again be able to enjoy the miraculous sound of his voice and the marvelous sight of his dancing, but that day has not yet arrived. The mourning continues. Where are you in that process, Janet, at this point?
Actually, since I finally was able to, I was in Paris. And it was one of those moments. At some point, you have to move on.
But moving forward doesn't mean forgetting. Janet has said Michael crosses her mind every single day, and that the grief hasn't faded so much as it's changed shape. She's even admitted that, in the whirlwind after his death, there wasn't much space to simply stop and cry, and to just be a sister who lost her brother, rather than a Jackson who had to hold the family together in public.
And trying to do that, and it being really difficult. And there's still not a day that goes by where I don't think about him. Not one day. Not one day. And kind of pushing myself, forcing myself to a certain degree to get over this, because it's not the healthiest.
It can be debilitating, I'm
yes,
sure, emotionally.
Yes, very much so. And I just spent the night just watching all his videos, listening to his music. And there were moments when I felt to cry, and moments that made me laugh, and it was good for me. I needed it. I guess out of everyone in my family, I never had that moment to cry about his death.
Why didn't you have that moment?
I don't know if it was trying to shield the pain or just trying to hold it all together, because I saw that everyone else around me was falling apart, and never taking that moment to really grieve, even at the service.
It's a powerful reminder that grief isn't a straight line. It doesn't finish. It just becomes something you learn to carry differently.
That night in Paris, did you really grieve?
There's more to come. I know there's more to come. But for now, yeah, I did. A year had passed and I hadn't.
It's almost in its own way, but on a different level, reminiscent of you as a kid, and holding everything in, and holding everything in, and eventually
releasing it.
But Janet wasn't the only sibling left to process the unthinkable. Their brother Tito had shared his own account of that day, and it's just as raw. Tito remembered finding out from his own son, who had seen the news break on television before anyone in the family had even confirmed it. He was driving when Janet called, and it was her voice on the other end that turned rumor into reality.
Do you remember the day where you were?
Oh yeah, I'll never forget it. Yes, I was happened to be home. My middle son, Terrell, had called me on the phone and said, "Dad, is it true what they're saying on TV about my Uncle Michael?" I said, "What are they saying?" They say he was rushed to the hospital and he's not breathing. I jumped in my car. My sister Janet calls me and she goes, she asked me, was I driving? And I said, I'm getting ready to get on the freeway. She said, no, pull over. Don't get on the freeway. And right then I knew something was terribly wrong. I said, Janet, is he dead? And she said, he's gone. And I just melted right there, and I didn't know what to do. I pulled over in this parking lot and just cried for like 15 minutes.
In another conversation, Tito went even deeper into that moment, describing how the news seemed to melt something inside him. The kind of grief that doesn't just hurt your heart, it hollows out your whole body.
When you first heard about the news of Michael passing, what went through your head?
It was the worst feeling I've ever experienced in my life. You know, I've had other relatives who had passed away, but they weren't my close siblings. You know, they were like cousins or whatever, or friends. But when my brother passed away, it just seemed like my whole inner self just melted. I was actually I was at home building the studio that this album was recorded on, and my son called me and he said, Dad, is it true what they're saying on the news about Uncle Michael? I said, what they saying, son? He said they just rushed him to the hospital under cardiac arrest. And I said to him, I don't know, let me find out. And so I immediately called my mom and to find out, turned on the news and saw what was going on, and I couldn't get her. So then I get a call back from my cousin, which is her chaperone, and he said, your mother would like for you guys to come to the hospital right now. I'm all drenched in carpenter clothes or whatever, so I'm looking like a bomb. So I take 5 minutes to dress myself, go to the gas station because I gotta go to LA. And on my way there, my sister Janet calls me and she says, Tito, are you driving? And right then I knew that she was gonna give me some really, really bad information. And that's when I found out that my brother had passed away. And it was the saddest day of my life still.
Tito also talked about being raised to forgive, but even with that upbringing, he had been honest that there was one person he held responsible, Dr. Conrad Murray. In his eyes, a lack of attention and care played a direct role in his brother's death, and that's a weight forgiveness hasn't fully lifted.
Do you feel any sort of anger towards the doctor that was working with Michael at the time, who I guess prescribed him all that stuff?
Well, I've always been taught, especially through my mom, to forgive. You don't have to forget, but you should forgive people, because people sometimes don't do things purposely. But I do fault him for not paying attention. He's a doctor and he knows what he did and whatever he was administering to my brother. He should have been there watching and monitoring as a doctor and not on the phone with his girl.
What made it harder, Tito said, was knowing Michael wasn't finished. He believed his brother was still the most visionary, most brilliant version of himself, with so much more left to create, and so much more the world never got to see.
You know, one of the things that Berry Gordy said during the funeral was that Michael accomplished everything he ever dreamed of. Would you agree?
No, because Michael was the type of person, he was a visionary, and Michael saw a brighter star. He saw a brighter star, and he's always imagining bigger and bigger and bigger. So I can imagine him thinking that way. maybe Mr. Gordy felt that, but the thoughts of Michael Jackson, the scale has no limit. So.
Well, I mean, at the time of his passing, Michael Jackson was the most famous person on the planet.
Yes, yes, and he's still pretty much the same thing today. Everywhere I travel in the world, you know, I see his memorabilia or records or fan base or whatever is just totally there, you know, and even his spirits travel with us when we're on stage. We can feel his presence on stage. We can imagine what he would be doing at that time, and we get energy from that.
Beyond the grief, Tito used his voice to push back on the noise, the rumors, the tabloid headlines, and the years of allegations that painted a distorted picture of who Michael really was. He wanted people to know the brother behind the headlines.
All these people have made so much money off of your brother since his untimely demise, and you hear all these accusations and about and all these things that are coming out. Can you tell us who Michael was? What are your thoughts about this?
Like I said, Michael started so young. He started singing with the brothers 5 or 6 years old. You know, back in Gary, Indiana, his first record, it was I'm a Big Boy Now.
Yeah.
You know, back in 1967, I think, something like that. And we've always felt that Michael was just a different type of person with talent. And he spent most of his childhood perfecting his talent. He never got a chance to own a bicycle or ride a bicycle or play Little League or tag or whatever kids do, you know. He was just a music man. When he got a little older, he said, I don't want to ever see a kid come up the way I did because I missed out. You know, I wish I had this. I wish I was able to play with kids and all these other things, which he didn't have the opportunity. And so when we used to have family day, we'll come over with our kids or whatever, and the brothers be in the corner, you know, talking about our future, talking about, you know, when we're going to get back in the studio or go on the road or what have you. And we get mad at Michael because he's too busy swimming and having fun with our little children and stuff. But he was just having fun. I guess he was experiencing what he had missed out on. And he had done this his whole entire life up to where he was. That's why he's so into like Mickey Mouse and all these things, Captain Crunch, and you know, he was
monkeys and animals.
He was the world's biggest kid.
He had spoken about the causes closest to Michael's heart, such as helping children battling cancer, working on education for children, and being there for kids who needed someone in their corner. And yet, Tito said, so much of that generosity got buried under accusations the family believes were never true. He even described that Michael was brought to tears by how badly he was misunderstood by the very public he spent his life trying to give to.
He wanted to live his life in a way that he helped people, help children have a happier life. And people don't understand that. How can somebody do this or do that? But people don't know. My brothers has paid for cancer victims, college, giving kids college funds, and helps family in need. He was just one of those people that give his life up, man. He'll give you every penny in his account if he felt sorry enough for you.
Yeah.
And that's who Michael Jackson was.
How did he feel when all these accusations start coming out about him?
He couldn't believe it. He used to cry, and he used to come to us and cry, I can't believe what they're trying to do to me, you know, and we understood it because from an outsider's looking in, they don't know all the elements and how it really went down and what it really means. And when you don't really have a full circle understanding on the subject, you shouldn't really comment unless you have some kind of proof. Even with this last accusation, there's no proof. This guy has gone on and testified and said nothing never really happened and this and that. And then someday he's needing money. He wanted to direct Circus Olay. He wanted to be part of that whole package, and the Michael Jackson estate said, no, we don't need you. We don't need you. And he got a little perturbed with that, and I guess he tried to hurt him in a way to get money, and he was running around telling his colleagues that I'm going to buy this house, I'm going to buy this car, and they said, how you going to do that? I'm going to sue Michael Jackson.
But Paris Jackson speaking at Michael Jackson's service shows how deeply it affected the kids. It is indeed a reminder that behind every headline, every hit song, every world tour, there was simply a father, a brother, a son, and he has missed more than words could ever measure.
I just wanted to say Speak up, sweetheart, speak up. Get close.
Ever since I was born, Daddy has been the best father you could ever imagine. And I just wanted to say I love him so much.
If you watched till the end, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications.